Greetings to all. We are His Imperial Majesty Axosu Agelogbagan, Agbovi the Our contact information and websites are in the description of the video. We want to make this very brief and directly to the point. Have a few technical difficulties. Hold on right here. Okay. We want to speak to the Black American misrepresentation of the royal institution, misrepresentation of the culture in general, and their Yoruba, in this particular case, Yoruba, aiders and abettors, because they like, it's like Trump and white folk. White folk used to be things they wouldn't say in certain circles around so-called black folks, right? But Trump has empowered them to be the crackers that they really are anyway, you know. So now you got crackers doing stuff they would never do, you know, and they paying for it. They getting beat down by the minute. This is not about Trump, but I wanted to show the example. A lot of stuff that Black Americans are doing in the Isese tradition. Look that up, I-S-E-S-E. What most people call the Yoruba tradition. So people that's kind of new to this, I don't want to go into detail what Isese is, but it is an African tradition that is actually, when you look at the antiquity of Vodun, we see that Isese is just a branch of Vodun. However, it's primarily expressed by the Yoruba people. So now, like the whites with Trump, Black Americans are being falsely, illusionarily empowered by aiders and abettors in Africa, and in this particular case, we're talking about the Yoruba of Southwest Nigeria. One of the key things of the problem is this Ogboni society stuff. They have kings in Ogboni now. Where does that come from? Let's tell you why that's strange, as one of our chiefs said yesterday. Me and her were speaking. And to use her words, why would Ogboni have a king when the Ogboni society is the check and balance of the king? Ogboni never had kings before. So they're creating this king stuff now, and it's only been happening the past few years. And that's Black Americans, and so they're getting a lot of Black Americans in this Ogboni society. Black Americans don't really do their research. See, there's a difference between thinking African and thinking like a Black American. So even though they're in African tradition, may have on something like I got on right now, they still think like Black Americans, right? So they don't do their research. They don't really do history. They don't really pay attention to language, even the bastard language that they were taught to speak growing up, which I'm speaking now, which is English. Well, dialect, really. So they never thought to ask, you know, how ancient is the Araba ship with Ogboni? Give me the first. We have a little sinus issues, but y'all can make me out. Give me the history of your Ogboni society right here, let's say Eko or Lagos, and name the list of Ogboni. Ogboni Araba. Probably won't be able to go past 2010, 2009, something like that. That's very telling, right? But here's the big problem. Now they're giving out these high-sounding, the name itself, legitimate title, the name, but not the process, you know, not the person holding it for the most part, because most of them are sellouts, just like the Yoruba sellout masters. Like Apena, right? A-P-E-N-A. According to where you at in Yoruba land, Apena is either the second or the highest ranking Ogboni title. Period. So, and if it's the second, it's not next to an Araba. There's no such thing as Araba Ogboni, except for in these people's mind in Yoruba land and their puppets, Black American puppets over here. What they don't know, going back to the history part, what they don't know is that the Ogboni society, the reason why many of them are doing this Oba thing, because they created that to compete with the legitimate institution, not saying those Obas over there are legit, but the institution, they wanted to compete with that. So they came up with an Oba thing. Dress up like a Oba, you know. Everything is for hire in Yoruba land, in Nigeria. Meaning, they go get a crown made, no question asked. They'll look just like a legitimate Oba until you say, see, Oba Agboni, blah, 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 you know, whatever. Everything's for sale. They don't care if you're a real Oba or not. You too can go over to Yoruba land and become a king, get you a crown made, you know. So they're falsely empowering these black Americans. Kind of funny, that's why we're smiling as we're about to say this, but they're giving out titles to these black Americans for cities and states. I seen one guy said he was the Apena of Marlyland. Really? Newsflash, black Americans. Newsflash. You cannot have a African title of a cracker state. I don't care if it was majority black. Maryland wasn't founded by African people. And it's not a monarchy. It is a governmental corporation, what they call a state. Filled with the other corporations, which are many prisons and whatnot. I guess you're the apprentice of those prison systems also, right? You cannot be a king or an Oba of a city. Look at the game they're playing on you. You go over there, first of all, there's a problem with that. You go over there to get a title for over here. For the record, for those that don't know and refuse to go to gunlodo.com, if you go to our bio page, we were coronated in Dallas, Texas. In the New African Itankale, or so-called diaspora, where we would be Axosu. Axosu in the Aja culture, for y'all that still may not know, is Araba in Yoruba. But they have their own title, which is Axosu in Aja. Most people call it the phone culture, but the phone are only a sub-branch of the bigger Aja picture. It's like Ebe, even the Ga people of Ghana. Anyway, so that'd have been like me saying, okay, I'm the Axosu of Texas. I'm the Axosu of Dallas. It's sad, but that is ridiculous. It's funny. It's really funny. Why would I want to be the Axosu of a European, Euro-American city or state? So they made this one guy in Yoruba land. Now, he's actually Yoruba blood, but he lives here, spent a lot of his life here amongst New Africans. We believe originally in New York. He may have moved to Atlanta. I think his name is Adebayo. Chief Dayo. And we met him one time. In Yoruba land, last year or year before last, they made him the Araba, the Araba of the United Snakes of America, or as they say, United States of America, or for short, as they call him, the Araba of America. Now, for those new to this culture, we believe in, okay, we have a concept called Ori, and what people say when, man, use your common sense. We say, yeah, we agree with that. Use your Ori sense. So if you got common sense looking at this video, even though you don't know the language and all that, let's say you do know that I know the language and I know the culture, okay? Or you're still a little iffy. Just look at the logic of what we're saying. Common sense, Ori sense will have you, well, you know, I ain't no Arba, I know chief, but that makes sense. How you gonna get a title for over here, over there, and over there meaning Máwùfe or Africa? Doesn't make sense. Shouldn't you get the title A A over here, B, and maybe B should be A, or maybe it's two A's, from your own people, with the approval of your own people. You go to Máwùfe, get a title, come back here, hey y'all, I'm a chief. They weren't part of that ceremony. We don't care how much video you show and all that buck dancing and all that type of stuff that they was doing over there at your so-called ceremony. That ain't legitimate. Your people went over there, maybe you took your wife or a couple of children and a friend or something, I don't know. That does not constitute a legitimate title. Hate to say this, you know, a lot of people not going to like this, but you're going to sit down and think, even if you're calling yourself a chief or an Araba, a regular Araba, or this made up Ogboni Araba stuff or Apena stuff, you'll be like, you know what? I had to go way over there to get this title, but I'm supposed to be this of Maryland, this of Chicago, this of the United Snakes of America. Who wants to be the Araba of the United Snakes of America but a coon? Who creates an Araba of America but a group of coons? Again, our culture is beautiful, but somebody got to say, everybody else sitting back, they talking about it behind closed doors. We're going to say it right here. And we hope that you can use your sense in this. All this stuff is bogus, null and void. Wow, it's freezing me. That means excuse us. Hold on. So just do your research, ask questions, and you got to ask it in a way that it doesn't, you know, the Black American and the Negro, period, whether they're from Yoruba land or Atlanta or Dallas or wherever, you know, you can't telegraph it. In football, they talk about a quarterback. He gets intercepted a lot because he's telegraphing. He looked dead at the person he's finna throw to, and bam, gets intercepted. So you got to ask them in a way, well, you know, that they don't see it coming. Like, oh yeah, you know, be all nice about it. You know, oh, this is a beautiful thing. You know, even if you got to embellish a little bit that you got going on here. How many Arbas have been in the Ogboni? And they're gonna tell you some bull jive, but eventually they're gonna have to tell you the truth. Okay, and you log that. Don't say nothing, because now you got to get other intel. What? Now say something like, well, the Araba of Lagos was made an Araba in Lagos, right? They're gonna say, yeah. But the Apena of Maryland, the Araba of wherever they saying they are, Florida, whatever, they were made Araba over there, right? But for here. And then when they gonna admit the truth, yeah, you ask them, like, well, isn't that a little strange? Isn't it strange also a person would be a title holder in an African tradition, but the title says of Chicago, of Illinois, of the United States? That's not a little strange? On top of the fact that he wasn't even made, that he or she wasn't given that title. They're playing a game with y'all. Now, y'all that got them fake little titles, of course, y'all gonna try to dispute this. You won't dispute it with facts. You're gonna dispute it with emotionalism. You're not gonna see. One thing a lot of people don't understand about Black Americans. Most of these people that got titles while they're in the culture, they never had a title. They never did nothing else outside of just work the Yovo or whatever other non-African most of their life. They never had no leadership position, even in their churches or their mosques they were part of, and some of them still part of, believe it or not. When they were in those things or still are in those things. But now all of a sudden you can get a title here. We know one guy, we call him Greasy Neck. His name is Eric Brown. And he said, he told us directly, he wasn't going to Yoruba land. They hadn't studied nothing about Yoruba land or nothing, or Yoruba culture. Went over there for a visit, right? Came back, he was initiated. And people people not using their Ori sense, they follow this clown. He's a real clown. He's a real turncoat and a sellout. Eric Brown, he lives in Atlanta, if he's still around. He calls himself OJ something? OJ, I don't know. Anyway. Well, you're a big, fat, greasy-looking, light-skinned guy. So diet is obviously not part of the average Isese person's regime, proper diet, obviously. We watched him eat a whole box of chicken while his daughter looked at him like, wow, what mine, you know. We didn't know he was such a clown at that time, but when we saw him eat that chicken, though, we was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. So, use your sense. Use your sense. You're not the such and such of Atlanta, the such and such of Dallas, the such and such of South Carolina. You know? No. No. You're not the Aba of all the Yoruba in North America. What sense do that make? All the Yoruba, what does that mean? Whereas it's Yoruba people here who say, well, no, I'm from Oyo, and my king is the Alafin of Oyo, so I don't know what he or she is talking about when they say they're the such and such of all Yoruba. This makes no sense. But this thing is going downhill very, very fast, obviously. And it's due to the eagerness of black Americans wanting to be somebody that they never been before. Many of them never been nothing before. Now all of a sudden they got on these clothes and all this. I know a Negro when I see one, I don't care if he got on a fila or a fedora. I know one when I hear one and see one. You know? So that's something to think on, something to chew on for those that are looking for real enlightenment, looking for real culture. For those that want to continue the foolishness, they're going to continue the foolishness. But it's just a matter of time for the deities begin their attack the way they used to attack Dahomey, burning down everything. Literally, that place used to stay on fire. Abomey, Ouida, Alafin, Oyo burnt to the ground twice. Lagos. Nobody wants to address that though. You know. So it's just a matter of time. You know. You have the most corrupted character people running that Ogboni thing. One woman named is Dupwe. She's Yoruba. Used to talk about black Americans like they were dogs, like they don't know what they talking about. These black Americans, these are kata. Now, that's all who follow her. With that Ogboni stuff. She don't know, she can't make up her mind of what she want to be. But now she's in this Ogboni foolishness. And so what they're doing, they're spreading their tentacles. That's why we made that video about congratulating, in a sarcastic way, the black Americans in the Isese tradition for putting the Yoruba on a pedestal to it, whereas they never went from never ever leaving their village to being able to travel the world due to their name being spread by misguided black Americans and the money that they give to them. They give them the money and then they travel to Venezuela and give that white Venezuelan, y'all need to get out that mindset too. Oh, and he's not white, he's Venezuelan. I know a white man when I'm looking dead at him just because he's from Venezuela. That don't mean, what's wrong with you, that cultural immaturity? You know, he's going and giving those same titles. Because they got the so-called Araba of Venezuela. You better believe he's not African. So, where is the sacredness in any of this anymore? So, for all of our the people that want to be more enlightened and get the correct culture, contact us at info@ganlodo.com, GANLODO.com. We say Odigba to you. That means until next time. To all our enemies, the enemies of Ganlodo, the enemies of forward progress with of African nation building and family development and sovereignty, we say to you, go find a real high building in your town or wherever you may stay, and you know what to do after that once you get to the roof. And we say to you, Odabo Jack.